So we welcome to the Food and Drink Show the beautiful Amanda Lamb.
You lovely man. How are you today? Are you
Very
okay?
good, thank you. Very good. I just have to say, Amanda, and I'm so sorry for this, but whenever your name does come up now, I have to sing the song. Do you get this everywhere?
I do get it quite a lot, yes.
And
I get postmen writing "Everybody loves" on envelopes now, which is quite amusing as well.
Oh, I tell you what, you can't buy that kind of PR though. That's
No, I know.
magnificent.
I had it as my ringtone for a while, and then I thought, actually, that's really narcissistic. So I had to go back to the normal ringtone. But he's touring at the moment and doing a little Amanda Lamb sketch in the middle of the tour as well. It was just such a strange thing to sort of to see, but really good fun though. Really good fun.
Just so funny, and the fact that you've taken it in good heart as well is brilliant,
absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, it was good fun.
So, well, look, it's great to have you on. We're talking about Korean cuisine today.
I know.
It's like another random kind of twist to this.
Whereas everyone's going to go, Korean cuisine? What is that? It's a good job I'm here to tell everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, so why?
I was approached by the Korean Food Foundation. You know, I've spent my entire adult life travelling the world, literally travelling the world and trying all these different cuisines. And I think I'm like a lot of people in the UK now, is that one's palate is becoming much more adventurous. And you sort of, we have the Chinese food and the Indian food, and most people in Britain, are familiar with those. But I think we're getting a lot more adventurous, and people are always on the lookout for the next big thing. And Korean food has grown in popularity. I guess in the last couple of years, people have sort of started seeking it out. And it's a really interesting cuisine, and there's so much history attached to it as well. And that's the bit that attracted me as well, which I just think is fascinating. And this week I've been learning about royal cuisine, which is exactly what it says on the tin. It was a cuisine that was sort of invented for the Joseon dynasty, which ruled Korea from sort of the late 1300s up until 1910. And the royal family were very sedentary. They weren't actually allowed to walk anywhere, or it was frowned upon. So they invented a cuisine that was low in fat and very healthy. I guess more for the poor people that had to carry the kings around than for the kings themselves.
Don't give him that.
Don't give him that. I'll never be able to get him up those stairs. So that's why they invented this amazing cuisine. And it's very interesting. It's very healthy. It's very fresh. And there's lots and lots and lots of vegetables involved. So, yeah, it's been good fun learning about it.
What's interesting to me about Korean food is and I had a quick straw poll around the office, but if you ask people Korean food, then what comes to your mind? People are like, well, I don't know really.
Yeah, I know. And that's the interesting thing. And that's what's so fascinating about it, is because any minute now you'll ask people to name a Korean dish and they'll come up with, several. The one that I learnt to make was a dish called gujulpan, which is which is going to be interesting to say after several of the Korean beers. It's a dish that's made up of 9 different compartments with a central compartment in the middle, and you make these wonderful little pancakes. They go in the middle of the dish, and then all around the outside it's lots of different vegetables, things like carrots, mushrooms, cucumbers, some very, very fine beef that's also put in, and then you wrap it all up.
I like that.
Pancakes are made using just flour and water, and you can put pureed spinach in there or pureed carrots to give you different colours. And then you wrap it all up. They're very keen on wrapping things in Korea, and it's called sam, and it's a blessing. So you name it, they'll wrap it. And one of the things is their food. So you take all the little bits from the outer ring and put it into one of the pancakes or the crepe, and then wrap it up and attempt to eat it with chopsticks. That's the fun part. How are your chopstick skills?
Yeah, actually, I'm not too bad, but that probably sounds like a bit of a difficult. Sometimes they take you by surprise with chopsticks.
They do. You think you've got it, don't you? And then it just ends up down your shirt.
It emptied the pancake. I quite like that, because that sounds like there's an experience to eating that as well, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think that's what attracted me to it all in the first place, is the history behind it. I mean, they used to have a, goodness knows why you'd ever apply for this job, but when the kings were in court, there was a lady, normally a woman, called a kimmy, and she was a court lady who had to sample all the food before the royal family did, just to check that it wasn't poisoned. I'm just wondering how many kimmies they got through in a year.
I hope it paid well anyway.
Yeah, you would hope it would, wouldn't you?
So what about sauces and stuff? You talk about sort of Eastern style foods. You've got normally quite a lot of sauces play a big part.
They do. I mean, one of the sauce that comes with the gujulpan, which is made up of sugar and mustard and oil, and that's just sort of drizzled all over the top of it. I mean, one of the things about the royal cuisine in particular is that it's not overly spicy or salty or sour. I mean, I think with a lot of sort of Indian food and Chinese food, you think of things that are incredibly hot or incredibly spicy. This is tempered to, I guess, a more gentle palate, because obviously it had to appeal to the delicate taste buds of the sovereign. So you have to be quite careful with it. So what you tend to get with Korean food is lots of different little dishes that all sort of are brought together, which I think is lovely, because it means you can get to sort of, try some things, and maybe some things will appeal and some things won't, but you've got a big variety as opposed to kind of here's one dish and that's it.
Yeah, I like that. And is this something you think that sort of genuine? I mean, we're talking to an audience here that are into their food and are kind of home of the foodie, if you like. But, people are interested in this at all different skill levels. And I place myself right at the bottom of the skill tree,
Yeah,
But
is
this something you do at home?
Yeah, I think it is. And I think the gujul pan actually is something that you could do at home. It's not difficult. The one thing that you have to sort of be mindful of, I guess, when you're cooking it is your chopping skills. It's the prep. It's the prep of a gujul pan that is much more intricate, I guess. When you see what a gujul pan looks like, the actual pieces itself that make up the dish are about 6 or 7 centimetres long. Okay. So all the pieces, I mean, I had a masterclass from a gentleman called Mr. Coe, who is in Kaya restaurant in Mayfair in London, and the chopping skills were incredible. I mean, literally, you could get a tape measure out and every single piece would be exactly the same.
Wow.
So if you're one of those people that sort of likes to spend a Sunday morning or a Friday evening sort of in the kitchen like I do, with no interruptions, mummy bans everyone from the kitchen for 2 hours, so no interruptions, where you could just be, definitely a dish to try.
Yeah. And you've got a young family, have you?
I do. I've got one that's actually giving me a good kick in the stomach as I speak, actually.
Really? Congratulations.
One due, thank you, in the summer, and a little girl who's 4 called Willow. So, yeah.
Brilliant.
This is definitely something that I'm going to try at home. My husband was a teacher in Japan for 3 years, so he's a huge fan of Asian cuisine, and I keep promising that one day I will make this for him. And now I've learned how to do it. It's next on my list.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've got a 4-year-old little girl as well, and I just wonder if something like this might be quite popular with kids, actually.
I think it is, yeah. And it's something that they can get involved in as well. That's the other beauty of it. They can help with the chopping. I don't think it'd be quite as precise as Mr. Coe's, but, it's an interesting dish to look at. That's the other bit. And sort of wrapping it up in the little crate or the little pancakes. My chopstick skills are probably about as good as my daughter's, actually.
My little one likes the what do you call it? The crispy duck pancakes.
Perfect. Well, then she'll be right at home. Yeah. Can she eat an olive, though?
Actually, she strangely really does like flavours like that. It's weird, though.
She likes it or dislikes it?
Yeah, no, she likes olives.
See, my daughter, I am in awe of people who can feed their children olives. And I remember giving one to my daughter and thinking, yes, because she ate it or she was chewing it. And I'm like, I've got it. I've got a child that likes olives. But she just stored them in her cheeks like a little hamster and then spat them out about 10 minutes later.
Yeah, it's strange. It's not normal, though. I think my daughter is not normal for that. Oh, it's great. The gujul pan, how are you spelling that? So
I knew you were going to ask me that. Right, let me find it. So it's a capital G U J E O L P A N.
Oh, okay. And is it one word?
Yes, it's all one word.
Gujul pan, right.
And if you struggle with it, just say it really quickly like I do.
But there is hope nobody asks you to spell it.
Yeah, but there is a guidebook as well. The Korean Food Foundation, they've published a Korean restaurant guidebook in London, which is also available as a mobile app. But you can also go onto their website, which is hansik.org, which is HANSIK.org, or you can also look at the koreanfood.net website, and that will give you all sorts of information. But there are Korean restaurants springing up all over the place. So if anyone's coming into London at any point, then check out Kaya in Mayfair.
Will do.
You can have a proper gujul pan there.
That's magnificent. Amanda, absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
You can add me to the list of the people that love Amanda Lamb.
You can now go and sing that all afternoon.
I will. And have a great weekend.
I will do. You too.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.